eat rice cakes with marmalade jam right after you train. And you'll get really freaking jacked. After not having carbs for God knows how long, exhausted, retaining a shitload of water, posing, taking pictures. Did I say I trained bis and tris? Bis and tris. You got my arms up to just a tad under 19. Or just a little over 18 cold. Orange marmalade jam. Dollar store. Probably one of the best jams. That and raspberry. Good raspberry. Yeah, I'm going to start carving up on this type of thing, a dry carb. Rice cake with marmalade jam, and I'm going to try to shed some water and carb up and fill out because I'm down to 190. And have to carb up and then lose the water retention and see what happens after that. Hey guys, YouTube, it's 8 p.m. Saturday night. Diet, lean ground turkey, still vegetables mixed in. No carbs for 2 weeks. Finally started carbing up today. Been carbing up on dry carbs, rice cakes with some marmalade jam on there. Dry carbs because pasta, any kind of carbs, pasta, rice, anything with water in it, it's going to make you retain water. Don't really need to cut my water out too much, but I'm going to carb up, still drink a moderate amount of water, because with the amount of coffee I drink, that acts as a diuretic, and that'll make me pee out any extra water. I always lose about 4 pounds throughout the night. Come morning time, I'm about 4 pounds lighter. That seems to be the trend, and that's really how you want to do it. If you wake up weighing the same weight you were the night before, you're not losing. So tonight I'm going to bed at about 192, and tomorrow I'll probably wake up at about 188. 189, still not fully carbed. So I've been carb depleting for so long, it'll probably take me a week to fully carb up. So I figure if I get my body weight down low enough to get my glutes in and get rid of the last bit of fat in the back. So when I do a back pose, I got the cuts along the lower lats, and that's what I'm going for. I also want to make sure I lose every single bit on my gut to the point where it's just a skin fold. Even if I got some loose skin, I don't care. I don't want no fat. I want as low as fat as possible. That's what I'm going for. Last couple of years I usually cut it short and don't go all out, but this time it's been so trying and such a long process that I want to finish it off, and I want to hold on to it as long as possible. I want to hold on to the low body fat in my gut as long as possible and take lots of biotin and to nourish my skin cells. Do a lot of exfoliating, so any skin that I do have will eventually tighten up around any loose areas in muscle, and then of course not bulk up too much this winter, if anything. Maybe 10 pounds, but I want that skin to look so damn tight that it looks like I'm literally shrink wrapped. So I'm just hitting chest today, and see where I'm at tomorrow morning, and then the plan is tomorrow to hit legs. When I'm ready for my contest photos, they're going to be done, the good ones are going to be done with a pump. Darker tan, I'm going to use some tanning, liquid tanning, and some posing oil with the sun. I'm going to be outside in nature with the trees. I like that natural raw element of nature. Same thing I used to do when I was in the van. All my bodybuilding pictures, of course, because I lived out of the van, were outside in the bush and in nature. And I've always admired figures like Rambo, especially Rambo, and a lot of people call me Rambo. My YouTube name and my Instagram name is Boombad. My real name is John Rambo, and I am the bearded Rambo. I'm full-fledged into survival. When I was in the van, I did a lot of survival bushcraft, campfire, fires, building fires. I got all the stuff, all the survival stuff. I got tents, I got a tent, I got a tarp, I got an axe, I got a hatchet. The list goes on. I got a hiking bag, big one of those big long ones. I got, I'd like to get more survival gear. I do have a lot of little things, bungee cords, flashlights, all that stuff, slingshot, and I am learning. I did learn how to skin a rabbit, skin a duck, but in these end days, gives sound of mind knowing that if anything happens to the stick and bricks roof over my head, my instinctiveness, animal instinct, is going to kick in. God will provide, and I will be able to live under, of course, any circumstance. Of course, I did that all my life. Being 46 years old now, I have been able to adapt to many circumstances. My life has never been the same. It's always living somewhere different, living in a new apartment, out in the van, new jobs. So I'm kind of a drifter, and I always believe nothing is written in stone. The Lord tells us not to plan too far ahead, because that's foolish. And we don't want to do that, because ultimately He's the one that guides our path. So we want to just place our faith in Him, and not think about the past too much, because it's gone. Not plan too far ahead, because that's all in vain. He could direct our curve any which way He wants. But just live in the moment and be blessed that the moment you're in, you do have food, you are provided for, you have a roof in your house, over your head, you have clothes, you have your health. If you're lacking in anything, just pray in a quiet spot to the Lord and tell Him what you need, and you shall receive. He will provide. We're not asking for riches, we're not asking for jewelry, we're not asking for expensive cars. He provides for all the animals of the earth. We are His children. He does provide for us if we ask, and we believe in Him. With that, I'm going to get out my chest workout here, and I'll see you in a bit. Crazy ass lighting here. With lighting, so I know my cell phone ain't that great. It's an LG, and I don't have the best camera, best lighting. And I mean, tell you, some of these pictures for guys that you see on Instagram or whatever, even some of the more aesthetic guys that aren't overly huge. Lighting is very important, because if you're not weighing in at 230, 260 pounds ripped, and you're a middleweight or a light heavyweight, you don't want that bad lighting to take away and make you look like smaller than you are. So all different types of lighting. This one here they got is coming from the bottom, being cast up. You can see how the lighting changes depending on how I angle it. When you're on stage, a lot of times the lighting is very extremely bright, but it's coming from overhead. I always say the best sunlight, well, that angle looks good. Shows the striations there. The best light I've ever experienced is sunlight and out in the bush. So sunlight is as far as overhead as you could possibly get. That's natural sunlight. That's going to give you the best picture. So I did a lot of flies, did my bendy bar. If you don't have a bendy bar, you should really get one, because I use it for flies like this. for upper, outer, middle chest. I use it for crossovers, and I use it for underhand grip for lower, outer, middle. I had it for almost 15 years now, and definitely awesome tool to have if you're traveling. Mine adjusts. It's got 3 pins, so the wider you go, the easier it is. And today I used it on the shortest, which makes it the hardest. I didn't waste my time with the lighter, high reps. Being ripped and everything, I don't want to waste my time with a lot of high reps and burn out the muscle. I want to get in the heavy sets and hit the muscle hard so it doesn't realize that it's being dieted to death, and the muscle continues to grow as you get ripped. The muscle will realize if you're training lighter, and it will adapt accordingly, having a smaller muscle. So I'm going to get back at my workout, and we'll see you in a bit. Breathing heavy is good. Having your heart rate up while you're training is good, because then your rested heart rate is going to be lower. Getting blood into your muscles is very good for recovery, because even if you're sore and you didn't feel like training, when you get the blood into the muscles, it sends the amino acids in there and the nutrients, increasing recovery time. So a shitload of push-ups. It's pretty good actually, because when I was heavyweight in the winter, I could do 25, but now I could do 40 right off the bat, and that's all the way chest to the ground, and that's after doing dips with the chain and incline dumbbell flies, the 35s, doing them Arnold style, wide, the elbows going very low ground, down to the ground. It's not an ego exercise. You can't go heavy. The point with dumbbell flies, incline flies or flat flies, is to get a good stretch at the bottom and come up nice and wide and squeeze at the top, because it's one of those exercises Arnold used to do, and it's great for building width in the chest. And of course, dips with your body leaned forward slightly is going to take less off the triceps and more on the lower chest. So you want to go down with dips as far as you can go. You'll feel a little bit of a stretch in your front deltoids as you come all the way down to the bottom. The more flexible your front deltoids are, the lower you'll be able to go, and you definitely don't want to go so low when you're not used to them, to the point where you're overstretching and even possibly tearing your front deltoids. So, and then of course coming up, and I never believe in locking out the elbows completely, but coming up with the dips and squeezing at the top. And it's also an exercise where I use the Joe Weider principle of continuous tension. All my exercises I do, I try 100% not to lag in strength in any area, whether it be going up with the weight or coming down with the weight. Continuous tension means your mind is focused on the muscle throughout the entire movement, from the bottom of the stretch all the way through to the top of the movement, to the squeeze. You have the mind-muscle connection, and that equals continuous tension. All these different training strategies. I always say, if you want to learn about real bodybuilding, go to the online, order yourself the Joe Weider Book of Bodybuilding, the Godfather of Bodybuilding. He is bodybuilding, and learn the Joe Weider training principles. You can use all kinds of them. There's so many, it's endless, and use them to your advantage. And always train with 100% intensity, which I learned from bodybuilders like Tom Platz, Mike Mentzer, and of course Dorian Yates. All intense, explosive training. So even though you're using mind-muscle connection and continuous tension, you want to explode with aggression. That aggression is what's going to help your body release testosterone. So you're not just mindlessly going through the movement. That aggression, that intensity will help release more testosterone and growth hormone. So I'm just lagging out my workout. I'm going very intense. I'm hitting all the exercises I said, and I'm just going the distance a little bit, stretching it out a little longer duration. I'm not volume training, but I'm resting longer in between sets. And of course, I always train instinctively. Listen to your body, what exercise it tells you to do, what's going to feel good, how many reps to do, how many sets. You'll learn that over time. After training many years, is the key to bodybuilding is to learn your own body. And that may come from trying all different types of things. That's okay. That's the beauty, the magic of bodybuilding, is trying all different types of things. And everything's going to work to an extent, but you will learn instinctively when to utilize certain things. And that's, people are always wondering, what's the secret to bodybuilding? How do you get big? What do you eat? How do you train? Well, it's knowing all these techniques of training and knowing all these different strategies of diet, knowing your body and using all these strategies instinctively when needed is what the secret of bodybuilding is. So I'm just talking to you guys between sets today because some of my videos are just training and intensity, raw intensity, a little on the funny side maybe. I know YouTube videos aren't supposed to be any longer than 20 minutes because people have short attention spans, and I respect that. But today video, I wanted to always come back to you guys after being in the zone physically and touch base with you personally. And best time to do that is sometimes my last video while I was sun tanning, but it's usually when my thinking is the best and clear, is where I can have these intense, meaningful conversations about you, because some stuff is just on the surface funny maybe and just bullshitting, and there's a time for everything, and a time to get real and personal and get right raw, deep underneath the skin and talk about what's really going on physically, mentally, and spiritually. So anyone that's watching, anyone that's subscribed, I think I have close to 70 subscribers I don't know how many people watch. I know some people watch on their TVs and you don't always give a thumbs up because the TV doesn't allow that or whatever. Whoever's watching or not watching. I know one good thing is I've never got any thumbs down. You know, people who have thousands of subscribers, they obviously get lots of thumbs up. I've seen a lot of videos that get a lot of thumbs up and no thumbs down. Some videos that get half and half, thumbs up, thumbs down. Mine, I humbly accept a few thumbs up, and I know I have a few loyal watchers, and for those people who do, I keep my circle small, so it doesn't bother me if I only have a few watchers, 70 subscribers. Just my personality. I never really desired to be more popular than anybody else. Never really desired to make tons of money off social media, let alone any money. For the most part, I'm just very thankful and glad after so many near-death experiences in my life and trials and tribulations, exhaustion and temptation, being knocked on my ass and getting back up. Through the grace of God, I'm just thankful and blessed to be alive every day and be able to continue training, because after all, any bodybuilder, no matter what size you are, how much money you have, or how many competitions, there's the one thing that every passionate hardcore bodybuilder has, and that's just the simple love for the lifestyle and the dieting and the training. And as being a bodybuilder, it's also an art form. Most of us are artists. It's not in vain. It's like painting a picture, sculpting. We have a vision of how we want to paint that picture, and we go after it, like Arnold said, like Michelangelo building a sculpture. You take an honest look at yourself, and as a bodybuilder, we know we have to have certain proportions, and we strive hard to build up lagging areas and have a full package. And that's pleasable to yourself. Obviously, in comparisons, a guy could look really good standing alone, and this is why they do comparisons in bodybuilding competitions, is to mix and match and put you next to different guys and have you do the 7 mandatory poses. You might beat the biggest guy in the most muscular pose, but in a back pose, your back is lagging and his back is wide and grainy, and in the long run you have the judges adding up the scores, and it's what the final score is going to be, whether you're big or small, short and tall, ectomorph, mesomorph, endomorph. It's the final package. But be happy and content with what you can do for yourself. I don't try to compare to myself to these huge beasts. I like to always look towards the vintage bodybuilders of the golden era, 70s, 80s, and bodybuilding was amazing in the 90s. Didn't like where it started going in 2000 at all. But I prefer the builds of the vintage guys. I like a freakier, dry, grainy, a hard work ethic build rather than something overly aesthetic and too pleasing, because I find that in bodybuilding, flaws are freakish body parts is what gives you that crazy look. So I rather have a crazy look than a perfect look. So that's what I admire. Dorian Yates had his freaky back and his freaky calves. I admire that more than like a Milo Sarkev or a Frank Zane. Yeah, they look pretty and everything, but nothing freakish, you know. You take a small guy, put it right next to him, they're going to have the same build, only one guy's going to be bigger. Freakish body parts and freakish, dry, grainy, hard work ethic look is the look I've always admired in bodybuilding. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Just wanted to show you guys my post-workout meal. You know, I dry carbed on rice cakes today and marmalade jam. This has been my main diet, is ground turkey and mixed vegetables. No salt, shitload of pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. So this is my post-workout meal, and this is how I love my eggs. Yolk's just a little bit runny and oh, beautiful. And those are sun-dried tomatoes. I buy them in the jar like that actually at the dollar store, and I use the oil too. Sunflower oil, I use them for frying stuff up. But that's my post-workout meal. I'm going to put those eggs on turkey and vegetables there. No salt, just a lot of black pepper and oil. Yeah, I can't wait to get into that. I haven't had any problems dieting, like feeling too restricted eating like this. This is so delicious.